Good morning, David.
Hey, Mike. David Moore, Dallas Morning News. We just start with an update on Jordan Phillips and what he's dealing with and how you'll proceed in there.
Yes, Jordan Phillips. He's going to be placed on IR today, and we've acquired Carlos Watkins. So he's here, and he'll be at practice today.
Along with that, you've said before, whenever a team puts something on tape, another team is going to come at you and do that. Can you just talk about the challenge the defense overall faces this week after that run performance with Henry and Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that really Baltimore's going to change their offense based off what happened last week. They feature a dynamic run game, and obviously with their skill positions, starting with Lamar. So, and then everything that comes off of that in the action passing game, and it's built that way. So, I think the biggest thing for us, and regardless of the outcome of the last game, is taking the time on Mondays and self-scouting and make sure that we're on top of it. Frankly, on the offensive side of the ball today, I spent probably 50% of the time talking about our self-scout, particularly in the area of route running. So I mean, it doesn't really matter what happens in the result. I mean, this is the time of year that we got to really make sure we're growing. And so, week one, we know the result of that. We had a lot of work to do after that game. Week two, we know the result of that, and we had a lot of work to do. But this is it's about beating Baltimore. Staying specific to the challenge that they bring in here Sunday. How they play, particularly schematically, what they do. They have a long history there. John's done an outstanding job there with his program. And they have some real staples that have been in place for decades. So that'll be part of the challenge. But at the end of it, as we go through the prep today and tomorrow, by the time we get to Friday, we just got to really lock in on how we're going to play.
Clarence Hill also in Dallas, as you continue to look at your own running game, and I know that you didn't have enough opportunities maybe for some of the guys. Is Cooks an opportunity? Is an opportunity for him this week, or how's he going with that?
We played 2 games. We can running back by committee. This is what it looks like, but it's running back by committee without enough attempts right now. So that's the evaluation of it. Dalvin's doing a good job, but we'll just see how it goes moving forward.
Mike Tarch with ESPN. What do you anticipate Jake being able to do today?
He's going to start off in the pre-practice, and then we'll evaluate from there. But hopefully he can get through the whole practice. We'll see how it goes. It'll be his first time, given it a chance. So.
And with Baltimore's defense, they've kind of been the same for years. It seems like a lot. Are they still that way, whether with a new coordinator?
Yeah, definitely. Out of the profiles, just how it's built, going all the way back to Marvin Lewis, and through all the excellent coordinators they've had there over last couple of decades. So they've done a really good job of just as far as their body types and particularly in their defensive front. But yeah, I think I know it's first year coordinator and so forth, but you do look carryover. I mean, we have 2 games of videoed, more play call sequencing to look at, but we, also did the last season study too. So we'll just keep looking at it and get ready to go.
John Machota with The Athletic. In your coaching experience, where do you stand on players having, let's say, emotional outbursts on the sideline when things aren't going well? Fans like to see it because it shows that they're fired up and they're upset with what's going on. But as a coach, do you think that there's something to it, or do you think it's a waste of time?
John, I think it's maybe I'm not hearing you properly, but I think that's just like very general, because emotion is a big part of the game. Emotional discipline is critical to the game. So, and I think you learn quickly in the game of football, especially in this league. What happens on the sidelines, usually just stays there and doesn't get evaluated much further than that, unless it's connected to things that can come off of that. So, yeah, I think it's in life in general is probably no different than in a football game. I mean, it's a lot easier and self-fulfilling to yell as loud as you can, the MF word, and feel good about it. But maybe that looks like you care, but I don't think that's I don't think always perception is reality.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Talk about the run defense, 190 yards last week, and look at Cleveland. How would you assess everything after 2 weeks? It's so early.
I think that statistically, we got a phenomenal analytics department. They crunch all the numbers. It's all there, color coded, and so forth. And have always done it this way. I was that guy as a young coach. Did it for years, but you really don't have a picture, that's really painted till probably after the fourth week. And you could be in the green or in the red. So after weeks 1 and 2, and it's really not reflective. I know the games that we've been involved in, from the offensive perspective, we haven't played a full 4 quarters of execution and efficiency, and we're going to need to do that. I would anticipate clearly this Sunday. So that's really where my mind is. I'm not really here to play tennis with you on statistics right now, because I just think we've played 2 games. So
You mentioned route running. Was that about your route running as a team with your receivers?
definitely, just tendencies. Just tendencies. Just highlight the specifics. Really, I think our guys have done a really good job, especially away from here in the off season, in the summertime, of spending that time together. Whether it's at Salina High School and just some of the places that they work out, just building off of that, and just make sure you're reinforcing it, because when you get to this time of year, you spend so much time talking about the other guy, the opponent. And this is an uncommon opponent, so that definitely was very evident. You see the number of guys that were in here yesterday, diving into the film, and today, we actually, kind of really just jump started right out of team meeting, got into the offensive defense, because we had a lot to cover. So, but just make sure we're trying to keep just cleaning our own house. We have a lot of work to do. It's September football. This is what September, when I talk about September football, means. I mean, it's not the result of the game. It's the process and the joy of the process. Staying present, staying where your feet are, and getting better each and every day. So that's really, really with myself and every coach, particularly when they get to their individual meetings, is staying on top of these techniques and fundamentals, because we have a lot of work to do.
Saw he's the athletic. Mike, every year at the start of training camp, you have a different 90-man roster. Based on the players that you have at that situation and roster cut down, all that, how much do you have to adjust what you want to do based on what players you're given to work with any given year?
I mean, every year is different and the same. I mean, you really start the process in April. That's why you scheme evaluate, then you go, scheme installation, scheme development, all those things, and you do, you got to take care of the trends and things you put out there in the past, and make sure you evolve schematically for that challenge, and then you make sure that the players are on the same page. So, never had a 90-man roster that I didn't love.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, you've won 10 of your last 11 games after a loss. Why do you feel like your team seems to bounce back so well after?
Just the great motivation that comes out of the great questions the media asked me is critical to the process. So, staying true to the process. I just think really what I talked about earlier. We just got to stay in tune with getting better each and every day, regardless of what happened in the last game. And I think this locker room does a really good job of that.
Joe.
Joe Hoyt, All City Dallas. Ravens got some talented tight ends. They ran 12 personnel, more than anyone in week 1, a little bit less in week 2. Yeah. How much of a challenge with that kind of tight end set and personnel is it going to be for your base defense?
It's a big challenge because it's the different types of formations that they get to, because they do play their 12 and 11 very similarly conceptually, and how they challenge us schematically, and their tight ends are. That's a hell of a group. So that's definitely a stress point for us and a focal point for us defensively. But they do a really good job of staying in consistent concepts, throughout those personnel. And they even play their 21 very similar to their 12 concepts.
Yeah. Aaron Cousins, Lone Star Live. Another Ravens question. Lamar Jackson, a lot of times you hear coaches talk about how difficult it is to replicate what he does with a scout team quarterback or something. What are your plans to try and do that?
Well, he's dynamic, number one. So I mean, we feel really good about with Trey. Trey can give us there as far as running those scout team reps, and Cooper will handle some of the other things too. But yeah, Lamar's a dynamic player.
Tom?
Dak was talking after the game about maybe using his legs more. Is that a conversation that he had with you here in the last couple of days? And what are the pros and cons of him doing that?
I think it's just really the product of you played 2 games. Scrambles are part of the game. There was a 3-man rush play in the game that he thought maybe he should have possibly scrambled on. I think that was more of the reaction of after 2 weeks. There hadn't been a lot of scrambles. I mean, I don't think you ever go into the game and say hey, run me more or I'm going to scramble more. I just think the opportunities to scramble just haven't been there yet.
Saad.
Mike, you and John Harbaugh both became head coaches around the same time, won the Super Bowl in y'all's 5th year with that team. Just how much of an appreciation do you have for the longevity that he's been able to have and the program that he runs?
Have a ton of respect for John in the job that he's done there. I think consistency is the thing that jumps out to me. With John, I'm a big fan of the Harbaugh family. Just Tom Crean, his brother-in-law, is a dear friend of mine. So. Yeah, I think when you play John's team, they're go back to the competitions I've had in the past. When I was in Green Bay, so they play the same way, and I think his background in special teams has been a big plus for his team. So you're going to be challenged in all three phases.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.